Hi everyone! Today we're going to be learning about adding and subtracting decimals. So in this lesson, we're going to be learning about what are decimals, how to add and subtract decimals, and also how to solve math problems with decimals. So what are decimals? Decimals is a way to write numbers that are not an integer, or in other words, not a whole number. So for example, 1.5 and 2.4. I'm sure everyone has come across decimals in our daily lives. So some examples would be like buying train tickets, measuring your weight and height, and also length of things. Here's a quick note. 0.5 means half. 1.5 means 1.5. 2.5 means 2.5, and so on and so forth. So now that we know the brief idea of decimals, we're going to move on to some calculations. Here's an ice cream cone containing 1 scoop of strawberry ice cream. If I add half a scoop of strawberry ice cream into my ice cream cone, then I will end up having 1.5 scoops of ice cream. This is because in my original ice cream cone, I have 1 scoop of strawberry ice cream. But then I'm adding another half a scoop of strawberry ice cream onto my ice cream cone. So then I'll end up having 1.5 ice cream scoops on my ice cream cone. If you don't understand what's going on, don't worry. Here's another example. If I have 1 10-cent and 1 50-cent, how much would I have altogether in dollars? First of all, we have to convert cents into dollars. How do we do that? Well, it's very simple. We only need to divide the numerical value of cents by 100, then it will become dollars. 10 cents divided by 100 equals to 0.10 cents. And 50 cents divided by 100 equals to $0.50. So now that we know how much dollars we have, we just have to add them up as decimals. Because there's a 0 behind the number 1 and also the number 5, we can ignore them when we calculate them. So it becomes 0.1 plus 0.5 equals to $0.60. Remember, when we write our final answer, we have to add the number 0 behind the number 6. In some math questions in your workbook or worksheets, they might ask you to show your workings by using column form. Right now, I'm going to teach you how to use column form to show your workings. Using the example from before, we already know how to convert cents into dollars. Since 10 cents equals to $0.10 and 50 cents equals to $0.50, we write it out vertically, aligning the dots indicating the decimal numbers. Remember, when doing column form, we always start from the rightmost, moving on to the left. So, now that we have it all written out, let's start from our right-hand side. 0 plus 0 equals 0. Moving on to the next column, 1 plus 5 equals 6. Then, moving on to the rightmost column, 0 plus 0 equals 0 again. And don't forget this step. When adding decimals, it's not entirely the same as adding whole numbers. You have to add the dot in your final answer. You may ask, where do I add the dot then? It's actually really simple. Just align the dot to the above column form and write it down. It's as simple as that. I have highlighted the dot in pink for easier reference. And now you know how to add decimals. Now let's work on some questions. Here's one question. An adult train ticket costs $8.40. A child train ticket costs $4.20. Amy wants to buy one adult ticket and one child ticket. How much should she pay altogether? Show your workings. I'll be explaining the question. So first, an adult train ticket costs $8.40. Amy wants to buy one adult ticket, and also a child train ticket costs $4.20. So, Amy wants to buy one adult ticket, which is worth $8.40, with one child ticket worth $4.20. So basically it means 8.40 plus 4.20. And let's write it out in column form first. Remember to add the dots in between the numbers. Once you've aligned all the numbers according to the dots, we should start from the right side, moving on to the left side. So first, 0 plus 0 equals 0. Then, 4 plus 2 equals 6. And finally, 8 plus 4 equals 12. And remember, you have to add another digit to the answer because the answer is 12 and not 2. And once you have finished calculating it, you have to add back the dot. Remember, just align the dot in your final answer according to the above dots in the numerical values. So, the dot in the final answer should be between 2 and 6. Don't forget to add the double underline after you've finished your column form working. And once you have finished, don't forget to write the horizontal equation back on your worksheet or workbook. Here's another question. If Sarah weighs 45.4 kilograms, Michelle weighs 43.2 kilograms, and Camilla weighs 55.56 kilograms, how much do Sarah, Michelle, and Camilla weigh altogether? Show your workings. 45.4 plus 43.2 plus 55.56. Now, in this question, it's slightly different because I've introduced a new decimal place to you guys. As you can see, once you've aligned the dots, you can see that 6 is by itself. When you see this type of situation, don't worry. It's still the same. First, since there's nothing above 6, it means that it's 0. 0 plus 6 equals 6. Then, moving on to the left, 4 plus 2 plus 5 equals to 11. So, we're going to move the 1 to the next column. 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus the previous 1 equals to 14. Here, we also have another 1 in the 10th place, so we're going to add it to the next column. 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1 equals to 14. And since there are no columns left, we should add the final digit into our final answer, which is writing 14 down on our final answer. Don't forget the double underline after you finish your column form working. Then, write down the horizontal equation of the question. So, write down 45.4 plus 43.2 plus 55.56 equals to 144.16 kilograms. And please don't forget to add units. Now that you know how to add up decimals, we're going to move on to subtracting decimals. Here's a question. if Cole is 189.4 cm tall and Mark is 182.2 cm tall, what is their height difference? Show your workings. Again, when doing column form, we should align the dots of the numerical values. Starting from the right, 4 minus 2 equals 2. Then moving on to the next column, 9 minus 2 equals 7. And then moving on to the next column, 8 minus 8 equals 0, so we don't have to write anything. And then 1 minus 1 also equals 0, so we also don't have to write anything. Once we have finished subtracting the numbers, remember to align the dots and also add the dot back into the final answer. So the final answer would become 7.2. After knowing the final answer through column form, remember to write the horizontal equation of the question. And don't forget to write the units, which is centimeters. And moving on to our final question, if a train moves at 78.9 kilometers per hour and a bus moves at 55.6 kilometers per hour, what is the difference in speed between the two? Show your workings. After writing our column form, aligning the dots, 9 minus 6 equals 3. Then 8 minus 5 equals 3. And then 7 minus 5 equals 2. Once we know our final answer, remember to add the dot back into the final answer. And then write down the horizontal equation of the question. And finally, remember to add kilometers per hour back into the final answer of the question, which is 23.3. So your final answer should be 23.3 kilometers per hour. And remember to add a double underline. And that's the end of today's lesson. Hope you guys know more about adding and subtracting decimals. See you next time.